Coming to you from the traditional territories of the Nuu-chah-nulth First Nation and the Qualicum First Nation, my name is John Jack, and I'm a member of council for the Huu-ay-aht First Nations and a director for the Huumiis Ventures Limited Partnership. Today, we're celebrating online the acquisition of the TFL 44 Limited Partnership in an incremental way. We see this as a huge step forward, not only for Huu-ay-aht and its interests, but also the entire concept of economic reconciliation throughout the province and even the country. But before we start, I want to make sure that we do things in a good way. So I'd like to introduce Edward Janzen, a fellow member of council for the Huu-ay-aht First Nations, with a prayer to start us off right. Thank you.
Chu naatit shani uklama klisnit istakshikla uayet. My name is Edward Ralph Johnson, Executive Council for Huu-ay-aht First Nations. One of my other jobs is acting speaker for Łiišin, Łiišin. I'm here to do Sika, call in our ancestors, witness the day, witness the virtual video, and I'm going to start.
Thank you, Edward. I think it's important to note that Huumiis Ventures Limited Partnership is a wholly owned entity of the Huu-ay-aht First Nations, and this transaction is moving us from 7% to 35% ownership of TFL 44 LP. This is important because this places us not only on the road to majority ownership, but on the road to contributing directly to economic reconciliation in British Columbia and in Canada. Now, we really wish we could be celebrating in person today, but given the situation we're in with the pandemic, we have to acknowledge that fact and move forward in the best way possible. With that, I'd like to introduce our first speaker, Chief Councillor of the Huu-ay-aht First Nations, Robert Dennis Sr.
Hello to everyone out there. This is an exciting day for us. I want to thank John for having the introductions here to this historic event. Certainly it's exciting to be partners with Western Forest Products. We've gotten to know the people there very well. And certainly we're looking forward to creating a full and meaningful partnership with USW. It's been a pleasure getting to know Brian Butler in the last few months. And certainly we do look forward to working with the union to ensure that we continue to work in the forestry sector. And another thing too that I want to say is that I'm very supportive and is my personal mandate that I work as close as I can with the Huu-ay-aht. They have been an incredible group of people doing their work very diligently, meeting on a regular basis, talking about things so we make a better life for Huu-ay-aht people. I've been very, very fortunate to watch Łiišin continue to give the same message over and over, that we have to manage the lands and we have to take care of them. We have to respect the people that live in there. We have to respect the resources we have, and we have to take care of our people, of our lands and our resources. And I really want to thank Łiišin and the Huu-ay-aht for the role that they continue to play, a very important and a very critical role in the development of the Huu-ay-aht First Nation. And thirdly, I'd like to say that from the perspective of sustainable forest management, this is going to be a really good deal. We now get to be at the table. We now get to be part of decision making, and we get to have our input as a minority holder at this time. But moving forward, we want to become the majority holder so that we have the say on how forest lands are managed in our lands. And we look forward to working with other First Nations so that they too can apply their principles of forestry management within TFL 44. And then, and we certainly look forward to the employment opportunities that will be provided. I was very excited to watch our employment video, to hear some of the people that are working for us giving their opinion about things, giving their comment about things, and comments about their jobs and what they're doing. That to me was really impressive to see our Huu-ay-aht people who are working in forestry. And finally, the most important thing that comes out of owning a business venture like this is the return that we're going to get. And that's the important part, that we start to realize the profits from this operation. This particular project is more long-term than it is short-term. In the short term, we want to pay off the loan. In the long term, we want to see the nation start collecting $5 million a year, 10, 15 years down the road. And so for me, this has been a really exciting day when you look at the context of those four main things. It's exciting for me and should be exciting for our people. When we get to continue to get financial returns, that means we can continue to provide the current programs and services that we are offering. And with that, I look forward to having a very good relationship with Western and the union, of course, and then of also building on our relationships with other First Nations. Chu, thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Advancing the interests of the Huu-ay-aht First Nations won't just benefit Huu-ay-aht people, but the entire region as a whole. Given the economic reconciliation that will take place in and around this transaction, we will be seeing a definite contribution to the local economy and the provincial economy, and that is something to be proud of. Now, back to Edward Johnson with a message from our head hereditary leader, our Łiišin, Łiišin, or Derek Peters.
Clicko, John. Chu, on behalf of our Łiišin, I'd just like to echo some words from Łiišin, from the outcome from the People's Assembly and the decisions, and he wants to acknowledge all of his people. He wants to acknowledge his Huu-ay-aht. The Huu-ay-aht system is it's ancient. The bloodline is thousands of years old, and he wants to acknowledge those past leaders, the past Huu-ay-aht that helped us to get us to where we are today. And most importantly, he wants to thank his citizens and thank all the people behind the scenes that helped put this together. And I think that going forward, with in the spirit of reconciliation, this creates opportunities. It opens up doorways to training and education, and being able to exercise our three sacred principles: Isak, Uatlak, and Ishuk Masawak. Being able to take care of the land and take care of our natural resources. Respect not only ourselves but respect the land as well, and respect others, and recognizing that everything is one, everything is connected. And I echo Łiišin's words, from his late father before him echoed. He talked about a 30,000-foot view and looking down at his hahuse, his territory, and recognizing, who's in that hahuse, and being able to work together and to be able to create a better future for the land, for our people, for our citizens. And Łiišin wanted to echo his words for everybody's hard work and dedication. He just wanted to say, Kweko, Chu.
Thank you, Edward. It's very important to note that the relationship with Huu-ay-aht isn't just a relationship with its elected government or its administration. It's a relationship with our hereditary leaders, our Łiišin. And that relationship has been very strong throughout the years and is one of the core reasons why Huu-ay-aht is able to do the things it's able to do. And that success is predicated on doing things in a good way, according to our values, and maintaining a strong and healthy relationship between our nation, its institutions, and the hereditary leadership. Now, I'd like to introduce Don Demens, the CEO and President of Western Forest Products, with a special message.
Thank you, John. Today is an exciting day for Western as we celebrate another milestone in our ongoing relationship with the Huu-ay-aht First Nations. I'm honored today to join Łiišin and Chief Councillor Robert Dennis, albeit virtually, as we continue to demonstrate how by working together we can deliver greater benefits for all. Forming mutually beneficial partnerships is a cornerstone of how we operate at Western, and our relationship with the Huu-ay-aht is based upon this core value. This type of relationship and path we've created was not forged overnight. We've been working with Chief Dennis, Łiišin, and the Huu-ay-aht Council for many years. Forging this new path has taken time, and it's not been without its challenges. To overcome the challenges, we've needed a few things. But when I think back, I think first and foremost, you need a relationship built on trust and respect. And it's that type of relationship I believe we have with the Huu-ay-aht. We also need to be able to spend the time to listen and learn of each other's interests and needs. This time of listening and learning creates the solid foundation necessary to move forward with trust onto creating even better and bigger relationships. I'm excited not only because I believe the partnership is going to create benefits for Huu-ay-aht citizens and our employees, as well as the whole region, but because I believe this is an example of how business can participate in reconciliation. So I believe true reconciliation gets its foundations between governments, either through treaty or other long forms of agreements. I think this is the only way to address past wrongs and to establish a foundation for trust in BC that will allow us as a society to move forward together. So where business can participate is on the moving forward part. We can participate by creating our own relationships, as we've done with the Huu-ay-aht, a relationship that supports both our interests, creating long-lasting partnerships over transactional agreements. As I said earlier, this takes a lot of time and commitment from both sides to listen and to learn. And I want to recognize the hard work of Łiišin and Chief Dennis, the Huu-ay-aht Executive Council, as well as our team at Western, including our Chief Forester, Shannon, Janzen, our CFO, Steve Williams, and their teams, whose efforts have made this day possible. So I'd also like to recognize the government and the USW for their continued support as we built our relationship and built this transaction. And if there's one thing I've learned, it is if you're willing to put in the time and the work, and you're both willing to listen and learn, to seek mutually beneficial outcomes, then you can create a strong, lasting structure and relationship that'll provide benefits for both parties well into the future. I believe that's what we've done here, and I'm very pleased to call Chief Dennis and the Huu-ay-aht a partner in our business, and I look forward to what we can create together going forward. Thank you.
Thanks, Don. The focus on building trust in an active relationship has resulted in a true partnership between the Huu-ay-aht First Nations and Western Forest Products. And the activities on either side really make or break that relationship. And we're really proud to say that we're moving forward together in a good way to benefit everyone. With that in mind, I'd like to introduce Shannon Janzen, the VP of Sustainability and Partnerships and the Chief Forester of Western Forest Products.
Great, thank you, John. I'm pleased to be joining today from my home on Vancouver Island, located in the traditional territories of the Huumiis and Snuneymuxw nations. So recently, Chief Robert Dennis sent an email that quoted Emerson. That quote was this: Do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path, and then leave a trail. There has been no path for the Huu-ay-aht and Western to follow, but we've arrived at this historic agreement together. And I'm incredibly proud of what we've accomplished, and I'm excited not only for Western and Huumiis, but also for our workforce, the USW, local communities, governments, and other First Nations, as we celebrate yet another step towards a long-term vision for reconciliation and revitalization in the Alberni Valley. And this agreement is about more than just the economy. It's about long-term sustainability. As the Chief Forester of Western, I am proud of our science-based approach to progressively and sustainably managing forests. And I know that we'll only get better by working together on integrated resource management plans with leadership from Indigenous communities. I also have no doubt that we can forge better relationships with the local workforce and the unions that represent them, as our interests are aligned in the short and long-term success of this renewable business and the communities that rely on us. So closing this transaction is a tremendous achievement in itself, but it's what comes next that will define us. I am incredibly thankful for the leadership of both Huu-ay-aht and Western, and for all those tough but balanced negotiations that have led us to where we are today. And I look forward to the future where this partnership is just one of many successful examples in a long-term, vibrant, and diverse sector, where businesses held by Indigenous communities are not only invested in tenures, but also in the globally competitive manufacturing of wood products generated from BC's leading sustainable forest management practices. If the last year has taught us anything, is that there will be challenges and barriers to overcome. This is just the beginning. The hard work is still ahead of us, and there are trails yet to leave. This new path requires a continuous belief that it is possible to arrive at a new destination and to continue to push through those tough conversations, knowing that we're all in this together. Thank you.
Thanks, Shannon. Advancing economic reconciliation and reconciliation in general is something that is very important, and you can see that in the relationship between Western Forest Products and Huu-ay-aht, especially on items such as an integrated resource management plan. That sort of cooperation really does contribute to a good working relationship. Speaking of good working relationships, I'd like to introduce the United Steelworkers president for our local, Brian Butler.
Thank you, Councillor John Jack, for the introduction, and thank you to Chief Councillor Robert Dennis for inviting me here to speak today. I would like to share a few thoughts with those attending today. As a representative of the United Steelworkers members working on Tree Farm License 44, I can honestly say that the Huu-ay-aht ownership stake in the TFL is something the union not only supports, but we believe is in the best interest of Huu-ay-aht citizens and our members as well. While there are obvious financial benefits to the ownership stake led to the discussion and creation of the mutually beneficial agreement between the USW and Huu-ay-aht First Nation. When Western's Vice President and Chief Forester Shannon Janzen first introduced me to your Chief Councillor Robert Dennis, we discussed his vision for creating family-supporting job opportunities for Huu-ay-aht and other First Nation citizens within the TFL. After that meeting with Robert, was very impressed with him, and we were happy to have the opportunity to advance reconciliation ourselves following that meeting. And while we had many First Nation members working within our membership on the coast of BC, we have only one member that I'm aware of working on TFL 44, and that's not right. The USW wants to see work opportunities for all people in the region, and it's clear that the Huu-ay-aht and other First Nations group have not been significantly involved in the forest industry for decades in the valley. And by working together, we hoped we could change that. Our organization is open to ideas and can be flexible in our negotiated agreements to try and ease barriers to opportunity and facilitate improved relationships, as we've done within our discussions with your representatives. And our organization believes that what we desire for ourselves, we wish for all. Reconciliation to me comes in many forms, from those that are economic and as well as in social justice. But for a worker, whether you're Aboriginal or not, I believe the benefits of a safe, good-paying job with benefits, a pension, job security, and the relationships that go along with a job go a long way to having any person in their family in a better place. And for the individual, it creates self-worth. I am confident, as Chief Dennis is, that by pursuing the undercut work from government and negotiating job placement and enhanced training opportunities within the USW bargaining unit, it will help his people. I sincerely believe it benefits our members as well. We will continue that work based on our mutual respect we have for each other and on the trust we have built. Thanks again for the opportunity to speak. I'd like to congratulate everyone involved as you celebrate the increased ownership stake in Tree Farm License 44 with Western Forest Products. And on behalf of all USW members working on the TFL, I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Brian. It's going to be very important to see First Nations and the United Steelworkers working together in the future. That's definitely a component in how we're all going to be successful moving forward. Now, I'd really like to ensure that we take the time to thank the support that the provincial government has continued to give us throughout these entire proceedings. We couldn't have gone this far without the province's help, and I'd like to introduce the Honourable Murray Rankin, the Honourable Katrine Conroy, and the Honourable Josie Osborne with some words for us today.
Hello, I'm Murray Rankin. I'm the Minister of Indigenous Relations and Reconciliation, and I'm speaking to you today from the Lekwungen-speaking territories, the Esquimalt and Songhees traditional lands. I'm so pleased to have this opportunity to extend my heartfelt congratulations to the Huu-ay-aht First Nation for this important accomplishment. You know, our government deeply values the strong and abiding relationship that we have with the Huu-ay-aht First Nation as a treaty partner under the Ța-nulth Treaty. And your economic opportunities and successes are good for everyone in our province and indeed in our country. I'm so disappointed we can't gather together in real time to celebrate together this achievement, but we'll have to wait until after COVID for that. I'm so pleased to see this agreement to mark your acquiring more ownership interest in the tree farm license in your territory. And I want to say that your partnership with Western Forest Products is a great example of economic reconciliation. The Huu-ay-aht have been thoughtful guardians and stewards of the land since time immemorial. And I know the territory and all the people who live in it will benefit from your involvement. Thanks so much.
Hello, I'm speaking to you today from the territory of the Secwépemc, the Okanagan, the Tsuut'ina and Ktunaxa nations, as I'm here at home in the Kootenays. Moving forward on reconciliation and implementing the UN Declaration and the BC Declaration Act are pillars of the BC government. But true reconciliation will take time and an ongoing commitment to work with Indigenous peoples as they move towards self-determination. That's why I was so pleased to see the Huu-ay-aht Nation and Western Forest Products building bridges to reconciliation. This agreement between Western Forest Products and nation-owned Huumiis Ventures will bring the Huu-ay-aht stewardship principles to Tree Farm License 44. It will benefit the Huu-ay-aht First Nations and its members, as well as other First Nations and communities in the area, and it'll benefit the workforce, including United Steelworkers. The forest sector is a cornerstone of BC's economy, and it should benefit British Columbians. My heartfelt congratulations to Chief Councillor Robert Dennis, the Huu-ay-aht members, and Western Forest Products.
Hello, my name is Josie Osborne, and I am the MLA for Mid-Island Pacific Rim, which includes the territory of the Huu-ay-aht First Nation. It is my privilege to be speaking to you today from the lands of the Clayoquot people, in my home in Tofino with the beautiful Waanajuice Hillfuas mudflats behind me. I am providing greetings to Huu-ay-aht First Nation and my congratulations on your significant accomplishment with Western Forest Products. Your patience and your perseverance, your determination to serve your people and to do what is best for your people is a true inspiration. This is a shining example of economic reconciliation that will bring benefits for people for generations to come. I offer you my congratulations and my sincere thanks for your incredible leadership.
Once again, thank you to all the ministers for their words and support. I'd like now to take the time to introduce the Mayor of Port Alberni, Sharie Minions.
Hi everyone, my name is Sharie Minions. I'm the Mayor for the City of Port Alberni, coming to you today from the unceded territories of the Ța-nulth and Huu-ay-aht First Nations. And today I want to offer my most excited congratulations to Chief Robert Dennis and all of the Huu-ay-aht people for completing this purchase for a significant piece of TFL 44. I've felt incredibly privileged over the last few years in my role as mayor to have the opportunity to get to know Chief Dennis and many members of the Huu-ay-aht Council, as well as citizens of Huu-ay-aht, many of whom live within the city of Port Alberni. And I just could not be happier to see this going through, because I know that it represents an opportunity to sustainably manage and have an active role in managing a resource that is so dear to the Huu-ay-aht people. So I really want to offer my congratulations. I know that this is also a significant step forward for reconciliation in our area, and I thank Huu-ay-aht and Chief Dennis for leading the way for this. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mayor Minions. It's important to note that TFL 44 connects with many First Nations and communities throughout the West Coast. And one of those communities is Bamfield within the Alberni-Clayoquot Regional District. I'd like to introduce Director Bob Beckett, a member of the board for the Alberni-Clayoquot Regional District.
I'm honored to be speaking with you from the unceded traditional territories of the Lekwungen people. Today, I'm so excited to offer my sincere congratulations to Huu-ay-aht and the Huumiis Venture on this historical milestone of its increased ownership interest in Tree License 44. The partnership between the Huu-ay-aht and Western Forest Products will be good for all Alberni Valley families, including area First Nations, union members, and Western Forest employees. Again, this is such wonderful news, and congratulations on this momentous achievement.
Thanks, Bob. TFL 44 interconnects with many First Nations in addition to regional district communities. And so it's important that we take the right steps to ensure that reconciliation is achieved on every level with every prospective partner. And with that in mind, it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Judith Sayers, the president of the Nuu-chah-nulth Tribal Council.
Hello, my name is Judith Sayers, and I am the president of the Nuu-chah-nulth Tribal Council. Huu-ay-aht First Nations is one of our member nations. I see Huu-ay-aht as being very progressive, innovative, and visionary as they prepare for the future of their nation. They have recently purchased in a share into Tree Farm License 44 with Western Forest Products. They do this in order to manage their territories in high environmental standards with sustainability in mind, in keeping the forests for future generations. They also do it to create revenue for their nation and for jobs for their members. We wish you the greatest success in this economic venture and know that you will be able to do it in a way that your ancestors will be proud.
Thank you, Judith. Before we wrap, first and foremost, I'd like to take the time to acknowledge and thank the citizens for their part and foresight in helping make the decision in regards to the TFL 44 acquisition. Without them, we wouldn't be where we are today. In addition, we do have a lot of thanks to give for the minds and effort put into the entirety of the project by our forestry team. So I'd like to read them out. First, a special thanks to our lead negotiator and our fearless team leader who brought the entire thing together and all of the people together. That's Rob Botterill. And the rest of the team in no particular order: Bruce Blackwell, Chris Nieziolomsky and the Forest Ecosystems team, Stan Coleman, Nathan Hume and the Ratcliffe team, Amanda Monroe and Brandon Thompson and the Monroe-Thompson team, David Thompson, John Birch, Elizabeth Cull, Arn Berry, Rob Sandberg, Travis McDonald, Michelle Alfonso, Jennifer Nickel and the Grant Thornton team, Robert McCullough, the Beck Group, including Roy Anderson and Tom Beck, Bob Bucking, Bryce Bancroft, Christian Reuten and the entire team at RWDI, Dave Hayes, Dave Hosland, Darren Hiller of Meridian, Reg Renner, Mark Neighbor, Trudy Warner, Dan Perrin, and Paul Rokeby Thomas. Thank you all for your contributions. We couldn't have gotten here without you. And with that, I'd like to thank you for watching this celebration today. It's a great day for Huu-ay-aht, a great day for the province, and a great day for reconciliation in Canada. So on behalf of Huumiis, Western Forest Products, and the Huu-ay-aht First Nations, I'd like to thank you for your time. Now let's get back to work.